Hey guys, this is Hawkeye, and I am back with another one of my gaming reviews. That a game I just recently got from Key Mailer. This is the Planet Zoo, and I also managed to get the Planet Zoo DLC for the African animals. So we're gonna check this out. I haven't had a chance to check it. I've had it for actually a little while. But I've been doing a lot of things with some of the other ones I got before that, like Prehistoric Hunt and some of the other games that I've basically been looking at. This one, I think I've been interested in checking it out for quite some time. But we're going to go ahead and check out the tutorial just to see what this is about to start off with. I would like to know somewhere... Oh, that's the... other avatars. These could be friends of yours. I guess you could check out their zoos. But yeah, if you are interested in me doing a series of this may end up being a really popular one. Apparently it's real popular on YouTube. So let's go ahead and check it out. Let's see. Stately Homeschooling Goodwin House tutorial. So, renovated and renamed after its purchase by Bernard Goodwin in the 1980s, Goodwin House has since become one of the most respected zoos in the country. More recently, it has undergone further renovation to update many of the habitats and facilities, but due to various issues, the work hasn't quite been completed, which is where you come in. The difficulty is medium. So this is our tutorial where we're going to see just how easy or tough this game is going to be. Yeah, I think this is basically a management game like the original Zoo Tycoon was, only a lot more elaborate. Funny thing is
heyo at Hematu. Yeah, Oh, sorry about that. I have a habit of slipping back into the Planko language. It's good to finally meet you in person. I'm Bernard, although I insist you call me Bernie. The only person who calls me Bernard is my wife. And even then, only when I've tracked elephant dung into the carpets. As you know, I own several zoos, but I always like to show people the ropes here at my home. This is the first zoo I ever opened, and a source of great pride for me. And prides, thanks to a lion breeding program we ran in the 80s. But we're in the middle of a big renovation, and that's where you come in. Sadly, our old contractor had to retire after developing a fur allergy. Poor devil kept sneezing his dentures into the lion habitat. So, it's up to you to finish everything off. Don't worry, though. I'm not completely throwing you in at the deep end. My head keeper, Nancy Jones, will be lending a helping hand. Oh, she's a hard worker, and she'll expect you to be too. But I'm sure you'll get along like a house on fire, or even better, one that isn't on fire. Less shouting that way.
Yeah, the people look more cartoonish, but the animals look pretty realistic.
From that rosy, fresh face of yours, I'm guessing you're Bernie's new hire. Good. Now, I hope you're ready to ditch your diploma because we're about to get really hands-on. But before we begin the real work, how about we familiarize you with the zoo by learning how to fly around it and visiting some of our beautiful animals? We'll start by popping over and having a look-see at the grizzly bears in their habitat.
Okay, so objectives. Goodwin House, renovated and renamed after its purchase by Bernard in the 1980s. Goodwin House has since become one of the most respected zoos in the country. More recently, it's undergone further. Okay, we already went over that. So we need to locate the grizzly bear habitat, enter the grizzly bear animal camera, locate the West African lion habitat, and locate the empty habitat. So I guess we click on this or something. Let's see, Bracken, continents. No? Oh, okay. So we move this around like that. And the middle button allows you to pan. So it's kind of similar. Now where in the world would the grizzly bears be? I kind of suspected that was it. But I think...
Did you know that grizzly bears,
Yep.
also known as Ursus arctos horribilis, can hibernate for up to 7 months a year? Oh, but then again, given the chance, I think a lot of people would do that too.
Nika, grizzly bear.
Select one of the bears and you'll bring up its information panel.
Well, that's pretty cool. 7.2 years old.
This is where you can find out all kinds of information about your animal. The most important thing being its overall welfare. You'll learn more about animal welfare today as we go through your objectives. But for now, let's enjoy this magnificent animal. Why don't you select the camera at the bottom of its information panel?
The camera at the bottom. Okay. Well, that's cool. That is...
See now, this is a fantastic way to get a close look at your animals. You can also get this view of an animal by simply double-clicking on it.
Okay.
Okay, when you're ready, let's pop over to the other side of the zoo and take a look at the lions. I've marked their location for you to find.
Okay, so you just zoom out. What's this here? Orbit. Oh, that's cool. Cinematic. Yeah, I like that. That is pretty darn cool. Okay, we're going to zoom out. And the lions are over here. Okay, so we need to... There we go. I was still selected on the grizzly bear. Okay, it's way over here. This place is bigger than it appears. Let's see.
Panthera leo leo. All the West African lion to you and me. Lions are the most social of the big cats, and there can be as many as 40 lions in a pride. Although prides of that size are pretty rare. As Bernie would say, those lions are awesome, which is precisely why I
Good
handle
God,
training
that looks
instead
realistic.
these days. Anyway, how about we get started on those objectives? Come on, let's head over to an empty habitat and see what needs doing there.
Alright, the empty habitat is over here. Let's see. Gotta get used to these controls. That's why we have tutorials. Okay, so this...
As you can see, it's a lovely space for animals, but it's missing a certain something. Well, 2 somethings. Warthogs. So I'd like you to adopt a pair of them. To adopt animals, we need to open the animal market, which is in the animal trading section.
Animal trading, okay, right here. There they are. So adopt our warthogs.
There we are, a pair of perfectly splendid warthogs for our zoo. Just click on them and select Adopt from the side menu. Normally the animal exchange would be full of animals, but I've emptied out the market while you learn how it works. The last thing I need is you accidentally ordering a dozen elephants.
Okay, and then we want this one. Now, send to zoo, I guess?
When you adopt an animal, it's automatically placed in the trade center, where they're held until you're ready to move them into their habitat, which, as it happens, you are. So how about you move them into their new home?
Okay, so where are they stored? Oh, waiting in trade center. Send to zoo. I guess we just place them anywhere.
animal to be moved into a habitat, your caretakers will go to the trade centre, collect your animal, and deliver them to your selected habitat. I've marked the trade centre's location, so let's go and watch the caretakers in action.
Okay. Where? Oh, there they are. Here he comes. He's carrying him in a crate. That's kind of weird. Yeah, they wouldn't be that nice. Hey, it's Pumbaa. Yeah, I don't know if you can name him or not. Be interesting to see. Well, he seems happy, but I don't see any water for him. Yeah, they have... Well, maybe you can. I wonder if you can rename him. That's a male. Terrain, environment. So this is all the information about him. He's hungry and thirsty. There it is. Okay.
Well, as you can see, those caretakers don't hang about. They'll move those animals to their destination as fast as possible. Of course, normally we'd have to place the animals into quarantine before moving them into a habitat, but I am assured by a thing that these warthogs are in the very rudest of health. Right, let's get the warthog's habitat finished up so we can keep them nice and happy. You see, each animal in the zoo has an overall welfare statistic, basically how happy they are, and that overall welfare statistic is itself comprised of 4 different areas: nutrition, social health, habitat, and enrichment. Luckily, if you select an animal, you'll bring up their animal welfare information panel, which we saw earlier, where you can see how they're doing. That way, you'll know exactly what areas need to be addressed. Don't worry if that's a lot to remember. You can always check the Zoopedia for more information.
So we need to, yeah, see, that's what I thought. Place a feeding and water station.
Let's start by making sure we're taking care of the warthog's nutrition welfare. To do this, we'll need to place a food station and a drinking station. Now, each animal requires a different type of feeding station. And for the warthogs, it's a small feeding trough. So let's add one of those and a water bowl.
Oh, yeah. Alright, let's go back to them. Okay, new species in the habitat. Alright. So we need... Got toys and feeder arrangement. Okay, so how do we do the next step here? Add a feeding station. Some of this stuff is not as self-explanatory. Exhibit trading, barriers, habitat. Facilities? No. Habitat, there it is. Okay, I see. So she just gave what we needed. So we need a small food trough. Let's put that over here. And a water dish.
Animals also require stimulation to keep them happy. Let's add a lovely mud bath for the warthogs to roll around in. That bath will count towards their enrichment welfare, specifically their toy enrichment welfare.
There we go.
Oh, nice work. You've got a knack for this, I see. Now, our contractor had to leave in a hurry, so this place is in a pharaoh state. Unfinished thingamajigs and whatsits all over the shop. But the first thing we need to finish is the ostrich habitat. It's over near the hippos.
So I need to find the ostrich habitat. Let's see. Well, near the hippos is not exactly... Okay. That descriptive. But this must be it.
Oh, before we actually start building our ostrich habitat, let's pause the game. Just click the pause button in the bottom right corner.
Oh, that's cool. Bottom right corner, so you can... Oh, this is kind of like The Sims, too.
That's more like it. A quick break. Sometimes it's a good idea to pause the game whilst you're doing something which requires your concentration, because it'll stop the zoo spinning out of control while you're looking the other way. Let's keep the game paused while we get this ostrich habitat built. Okay, job number 1 here is to add a habitat gate before we complete the barrier. Every habitat needs a habitat gate. After all, how else would the keepers get in and out? Just make sure it's hooked up to the path so the keepers can reach it.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, so we need to put it in right here. So, is it under barriers? Yeah.
Right, let's complete the perimeter barrier so we can adopt us some ostriches. I've marked out an area for you to use, so I'd like you to finish off the perimeter using the brick barrier.
Okay.
Good work. Remember, before you can place animals in any habitat, it has to have a full loop of connected barrier. Now, you've probably noticed that guests can't actually see into this habitat at the moment. At least not without a stepladder. But seeing as they're banned, I'd like you to select a piece of barrier and swap out the brick for a glass barrier, so the guests can see in.
Okay, so we need to go to barriers. Glass.
There we go. Adding in more windows gives guests even more opportunities to see the animals in a habitat. It's always best to make sure the guests can get a good view into a habitat from the path they're walking on, because it makes them happy, and because this would be a pretty terrible zoo if they couldn't. The last thing we need to do is to add a donation box. You see, when guests enjoy the view of an animal, they'll make a donation. Just make sure you put them in easy-to-reach places, like near a viewing point. Donation boxes are one of the main sources of income for the zoo, so make sure you remember them.
Donation points. Okay. Add a donation box. Well, it's not barriers, not habitat, not nature. Here it is.
Now, before we adopt our ostriches, you should click the play button. After all, if the game's paused, then so are our caretakers, which will make it a bit tricky for them to deliver the ostriches, eh?
Ah.
By the way, as well as pausing the game, you can speed the game up by clicking on the fast forward button. It'll run everything at 2 times and 5 times faster. It can be useful, especially if you're waiting for money to accumulate or for animals to be delivered to your habitat. Personally, I use it when I'm waiting for a brew to finish. All right, you've finished the habitat, so it's high time we adopted those ostriches, don't you think? Let's get 4 of them in here.
4 of them? Alright. Let's see. Adopt ostriches. Now where do the... Animal trading, that's right. Let's see. Animal market. There we go. 4 ostriches. 1, 2. Adopt. 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 And adopt. Send to zoo. So delivery is scheduled. Here it comes. That's crazy. That is pretty cool though, the way you can get up close to them. Now they look really realistic. Even if the people don't. Oh, he's got sprinklers. Let's see, what's this? Cinematic. And then there's the orbiting one. There's the next ostrich. So he needs some kind of enrichment. This looks like a male. Yeah. He's got those prettier white feathers. Alright, we need to get the rest of them. They are delivering them. I think you can only do it one at a time, though.
While we wait for them to be collected by the caretakers and brought to the habitat, you should get it ready for them. Add a suitable feeding station, water station, and an appropriate food enrichment item. It's often best to place things like enrichments and feeding stations near to the habitat perimeter, so guests can get a really good view of the animals.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. There's the next ostrich. So it's probably going to be, I don't know if it's going to be 3 females and 1 male, or 2 males and 2 females. I think 2 males would fight. Okay, so we've done the barrier, so we need a slow feeder, water trough. Oh, there's the next ostrich. Boop. Yep, 3 females. I had a feeling they do it that way. Okay, so let's put food bowl right here near the viewing port. Slow feeder here. And a water trough right there.
Oh, good to see the ostriches have somewhere they can really stretch their legs. Did you know they can actually run at 43 miles per hour? Oh, heaven forbid they ever escape. The speed camera fines alone would bankrupt us.
So it looks like bronze objective completed. Most popular species, West African
Well,
language.
Bernie certainly seems impressed. Did you do his speed camera joke? Every time we get an ostrich. So, now we've made the ostriches' lives a bit better, let's do the same for the keepers, shall we? To make it easier for the keepers to feed the ostriches and hippos, we should build a new keeper hut. Keeper huts are where the keepers prepare the food for animals, so they should be placed near to the habitats to make sure the keepers don't waste their time walking when they should be looking after the animals.
Right. So we need to find a keeper hut. Build a keeper hut. Where do they want us to put it? Gotta build it and power it.
You'll need to rotate the keeper hut to get it to connect up to the path.
Okay. It looks like there's a bit of a space right here. Trying to figure out how do I rotate that darn thing. Okay. Hold down Z and move them. Okay, gotcha. Oh, I see. They actually... Okay, gotcha. There we go.
This keeper hut only has space for one keeper, but the larger keeper hut can allow multiple keepers to prepare food at the same time. Oh, but bear in mind that keeper huts and other staff facilities shouldn't be placed near to areas where there are lots of guests. Guests don't like seeing facility buildings, and it can affect their happiness. Negatively. In case that wasn't clear. Something that all facilities, shops, and a whole host of other objects need is power. And that obviously includes your newly built keeper hut. So let's place a transformer next to it, shall we? Now, the reason everything has gone blue is because you're using the power heat map. This map allows you to see what is and what isn't powered in your zoo. So once you've placed your transformer, you can click in the bottom left to turn the heat map off.
Oh, okay.
Lovely work. Now the keepers can start using the hut to prepare food, and thanks to where you've put it, they won't need to walk very far to deliver it to the ostriches and hippos. Let's get on to your next objective then. Bengal tigers. We want to adopt some, but I'm afraid there's nothing ready for them yet. Head on over to the plot of land I've marked out. It's not too far away.
Okay, let's see here. Bengal tigers. Way over here. Oh gosh, there's absolutely nothing
your
here.
Your next job is to build a habitat from scratch. And concrete and glass, I expect. So go ahead and build it. Just make sure that the habitat includes that big hole we've dug. Oh, and don't forget to add a habitat gate to the barrier.
Oh, and probably some viewing boards too.
Oh, and make sure the guests will be able to see the tigers.
Yeah. Alright, let's see here. We've got concrete, glass, red brick. Which would be better to use? Let's go with concrete. Okay, that is complete. Let's see, where can we put the gate? Let's put the gate right here, down at this end.
Now, Bernie takes safety very seriously at his zoos, so we should probably make sure those tigers can't jump out of their habitat, don't you think? The way we'll do it is by changing the height of the habitat's barrier. Okay then, you should start by double-clicking the habitat barrier, which will take you into barrier editing mode. Great. Now highlight the entire perimeter of the habitat. You can do that by clicking and dragging the barrier selection tool. Now you've got all of the perimeter selected, you can increase the height of it by clicking and dragging the barrier height tool upwards. You'll want to make sure it reaches a height of at least 3.7 meters. Now that the habitat is in place, don't forget to put down a donation box near to your viewing areas. We need every dollar we can get. Especially as these tigers aren't exactly eating instant noodles for lunch.
Okay, we're gonna go back to barriers. What? Wow. Now that time it worked. That's kind of weird. Well, there's viewports there. Yeah, apparently there's some places it just will not allow it to happen. Okay, so we need to add a donation box.
Okay, that's the habitat boundary complete, the habitat gate in place, and most importantly, the tigers won't be able to jump out of it anymore. I think it's time we adopted those tigers.
Alright. So now we go to animal trading. And there they are. We're going to adopt that Bengal tiger and that Bengal tiger. We've already got them. It looks like that is highlighted, so you know they're coming. There's the tiger. Oh, that's cool. Something tells me this is supposed to have water in it. Alright, let's check the status of the other one. Okay, he's on the way. Wow. Okay, now I'm not sure. I guess we just have to wait for her direction. Okay, I think that's him delivering the tiger, but I'm not sure. No, that's them checking things out.
Whilst our trusty caretakers collect and deliver the tigers, let's take a look at preparing the habitat for their arrival. We'll
Alright,
start with the basics. Add a suitable feeding station for them.
alright. Feeding stations. Okay, I think that's the next tiger. Yep, there he is. Of course, in real life, he'd have turned around and ate him up. But this is a game. Okay, let's see here. What do we got? Habitat. Food tray down for the tigers. So we want to put that. Wait a minute, let's get this over here near the viewing port because that's what they want you to do. Nope. Habitat.
This time, instead of adding a water bowl, let's try something different. Some animals need a pool in their habitat so they can go for a swim, but they can also use it to drink from. All you have to do is make sure the banks of the pool have a gentle slope so they can easily get a nice, refreshing drink. There's already a pool excavated, but you still need to fill it with water. You should do that by going into terrain and selecting the water tool.
Okay, so terrain. Oh, okay. It looks like they're eating over there next to the pool. So where's the water tool? Here it is. So add water. Calm water, rough water.
Yes, that'll do nicely. Of course, just like the warthogs and ostriches, these tigers will also need some enrichment. Why don't you add some suitable toy and food enrichment items into their habitat?
Okay, toy and food. Oh, okay. A rubbing pad. I guess it's like a scratching post. Well, let's put it where people can watch them. And this is a frozen blood pumpkin.
Okay, it's really starting to take shape. Now, the tigers will need a shelter in their habitat so they can hide from the guests, or more likely, the bad weather. Although given that we're in England, you might want to think of that just as normal weather. Go on, add a shelter to their habitat.
All right.
You can either build one from various suitable bits and bobs, or if you like, just pop down the blueprint that I've already built for you.
Yeah, let's put the... There we go.
Oh, poor Dabs. I'm sure it can't have escaped your attention that the tigers look a bit miffed. That's because they aren't too keen on the type of terrain in their habitat. Select a tiger and bring up its information panel.
Okay, get this one.
Rightio, click on the Terrain tab. That way you can view the terrain information and see how they feel about the different types of terrain. That'll tell you what the tigers need more of or less of in this habitat. Yes, that should help with the habitat part of their welfare.
Alright, let's see here. We're gonna go to the terrain. I think it was terrain, wasn't it? Yeah, the paint. And we need to get... Hold on, let me check to see what the tiger wants. So he wants... Okay, right now, less grass. More soil. So less grass, more soil. That's pretty straightforward. There's rock, rock, sand, sand, soil. Does it say what type of soil or just soil? Let's just try light soil. And we'll do that while in pause mode. And look, as it gains, soil is going up, grass is going down. Let's try a little bit of the heavy soil. Can you make that circle smaller? Almost. Let's put some over here. Well, now it looks like we got plenty of soil. Now we need more grass. Short grass. And let's try the light soil. There we go, we got it.
They say that good fences make good neighbors. I guess that's doubly true when one of the neighbors is a Bengal tiger. Still, those tigers look so happy that I doubt they'd leave, even if you did poke a hole in their fence.
So
Oh,
silver
but for
objective
heaven's sake,
completed.
don't test that theory.
Scenario unlocked. The ape apprenticeship.
Right. Let's head over to the Indian peafowls. I've been told that we need to improve their social welfare.